about the anatomy of ruminant digestive system, because ruminants are the one which do have four stomach, FOUR stomach, and they have got the special ability of digesting the cellulose, unlike the monogastric animals like the dog, cat, etc., and also the human being. They have got a very specific digestive system of digesting the cellulose with the help of the ruminal microflora. So, in this aspect, we need to study about the anatomy of ruminant digestive system, which is one of its unique kind. And ruminant stomach is containing four chambers, especially the rumen reticulum omasum represented in the fourth stomach, whereas the fourth compartment is abomasum lined with glandular mucosa, or also it is called as the true stomach. So, whereas the rumen is the first compartment of the ruminant stomach, and it is one of the largest space occupying and heaviest organ in the ruminant, and it occupies about more than three-fourths of the peritoneal cavity. And the specialty of the ruminant stomach is the microbial digestion, and it's a very big fermentation vat which is containing different type of the bacteria, protozoa, and also some of the virus which can break down food particles through the mechanical digestion and also the fermentation with the help of the microbe. So instead of producing the glucose, unlike the monogastric animals, the ruminants, with help of the microflora, do produce the volatile fatty acids. In short, they are called as the VFAS. So this is the anatomical description of the rumen. It has got two surfaces and two curvatures. One is the parietal or left surface related to the diaphragm, which is separating the organs of the thoracic cavity from that of the abdominal cavity. So, the direct contact of the rumen with left flank facilitates the auscultation, palpation, trockerization, and also the surgical operation. So, these are all the anatomical locations of the rumen. And the visceral right surface is related to the intestine, liver, omasum, and abomasum. And both parietal and visceral surfaces are characterized by ruminal growth. So dorsal curvature lies against diaphragm and the roof of abdominal cavity, and ventral curvature lies against the ruminal floor. So this makes the rumen, which is divided externally into several parts by number of ruminal grooves, which are arranged as follows. So here in between the compartments, you can see several type of the grooves are there, and ruminoreticular groove is a groove between the rumen and the reticulum. Right and left longitudinal grooves on the visceral and parietal surfaces, whereas the right accessory groove is extending from a right long groove, describes a curve dorsally and rejoins with a right long groove enclosing the insula ruminis. So left accessory groove is small, extending dorsally to from left long groove. So these are all the right and left grooves which are anatomically defined very well. And cranial and caudal transverse grooves, cranial and caudal transverse grooves, which unite right and left long grooves. Whereas the left and right dorsal and ventrolateral grooves extend from caudal end of the right and left longitudinal grooves, and demarcate the caudoventral and caudodorsal blind cells. So, ventral coronary grooves reach ventral curvature of the rumen, while the dorsal grooves don't reach its dorsal curvature. So, the ruminoreticular groove is one of the important thing in case of the ruminants, because it closes whenever the animal is drinking water, and the water will go directly to the abomasum is concerned. And also in suckling cows, it closes whenever the calf is suckling. So the anatomy of this is a very special thing, and the groove separates rumen from reticulum ventrally with the ruminal atrium. So the dorsal and ventral. So here all the ruminal parts of the rumen have been described very well, and go through this thing. And dorsal and ventral ruminal sacs. Dorsal and ventral. Dorsal below, ventral means below. So this is a rumino-reticular groove, and the ruminal atrium and ruminal acres. So the esophagus enters here and starts ends with the intestinal opening, and the front organ, which is very close to that of the diaphragm, is called as the reticulum, and some of the cranial grooves are also going here, and the caudal groove is lining here, and this represent the caudal parts of the dorsal and ventral ruminal sacs, whereas the esophagus enters the stomach at cardia, which lies at the junction of rumen and reticulum. So this is the left side of the rumen, means where we stand and palpate the rumen. So dorsal coronary groove, and this is the caudodorsal sac, anterium or cranial sac. This is downwards is the ventral sac, and up one is the dorsal sac. So this is left longitudinal groove, and all these are the demarcations of the rumen, which is a very hollow organ, and the interior of the rumen do also always contain, this is the cross sections of the rumen with exception of rumino-reticular grooves, where the ruminal pillars are present. All grooves are represented by muscular pillars which project into the cavity of the rumen. So the cranial pillar projects between ruminal atrium and recess, but caudal pillar projects between two blind sacs. So these are all the internal parts of the rumen. Here you can see that the rumen cavity is a very big cavity, and this is the reticulum and omasum and abomasum. So abomasum is not here, and you can see that this is the reticulum, which is having the honeycomb-like structure, whereas the abomasum is a glandular stump, whereas this turkey towel-like structure is called as the rumen, and omasum is muscular folds of the smooth muscles. And ruminal papillae are the mucosa forms large conical tongue-shaped ruminal papillae. So these are all the ruminal papillae, and they are very well developed in ventral sac, blind sacs, and ruminal atrium, but decrease in size towards the pillars, which they are absent. And the papillae increases surface area of the mucosa with fatty acids and sodium are always absorbed. Volatile fatty acids are always this absorbed through these papillae. So sometimes they are also looking like this. Then the reticulum is also another most cranial chamber, spherical in shape. It lies intrathoracic part of the abdominal cavity between the diaphragm and also the rumen. This is the reticulum. And dorsally it is continued with ruminal atrium. So ruminal atrium. Ventrally it is involved in the cranial groove and lead to reticulopericarditis. So it's involved in traumatic reticulopericarditis. So one should know the anatomical position of the ruminal-reticular groove, because many times it is very important to find whether it's a this a nail, etc., are punctured by the reticular groove. And anatomical descriptions are there are two surfaces, and this is the cut open surface. So this is the last rib, and here you can see that different organs. One side to liver or mesum, endomesum. On left side, two costal part of the diaphragm, and ventrally sternal part is there, and also the cartilage, xiphoid cartilage. Cranially, it is diaphragm, caudally to rumen. So these are all the anatomical boundaries. So interiors of the reticulum also do contain similar type of the things, especially we can see the mucosa forms a permanent crest of about 1 centimeter height, which intersect to form honeycomb-like cells, and each cell is subdivided by lower secondary crests. So the crests and the cells are studied with small papillae. And these are all the papillae, and in between the honeycomb-like structures, the papillae are lying, and they are also required for the absorption of many type of the nutrients, etc. And it acts as a filter for the heavy materials like the nails and sharp objects also, and sometimes the hard objects. So the omasum is ventrally or intrathoracic part of the abdominal cavity to the right of the median plane between rumen and right abdominal wall. And the anatomical description is it says spherical in shape and larger than that of the reticulum in case of the ox. So here you can see that esophagus, reticulum, and the omasum, and also the abomasum, and small intestine, then rumen, etc. are there. So the each are demarcated by the greater curvature, lesser curvature, and visceral surface. Then the parietal surface related to diaphragm and liver. Below a later small area lies against right abdominal wall, and ventrally it is related to reticulum and the abomasum. Caudally it is means backward, it is jejunum. So neck of a rumen is very short narrow part of the neck omasum, and also the omasum, also the reticulum. Omasum of small ruminants is oval and smaller than that of the reticulum, but it does not contact with the right abdominal wall, whereas the interior of oviscum is just like the layers of the small smooth muscles. It communicates with the reticulum through reticulomucosal opening, with abomasum through abomaso omaso-abomasal opening. So the inner wall of the different sized parallel folds terms as the omasal laminae inside this thing, and their surfaces are covered by horny papillae, and they are separated by interlaminar recesses. So lamina are arranged like 1, 4, 3, 4 wide, etc. 1 is the highest, 4 is the lowest. 1, 4, like that, as per the anatomical situation. So this is also the ruminant digestive system, starting from the tongue or the mouth and ends with the anus. So teeth, then pharynx, esophagus, liver, pancreas, kidney, cecum, reticulum, abomasum, then rumen, small intestine, colon, etc. So all these organs so are interconnected and papillae in the rumen. So the main job of the papillae in the rumen is to absorb the volatile fatty acids and also the different nutrients. So this is the structure of chromosome, in which the structures are having the folds of the muscles. Like this is the abomasal structure, a glandular structure. So like folded and glandular structure, which is very similar to that of the stomach of a human being. Then the last organ in the rumen is abomasum. So abomasum or true stomach is most distal compartment in the form of elongated sac. It lies chiefly on abdominal floor. The fundus lies on abdominal floor left side. The pyloric part of the right side and the body crosses median plane from left to right. The abomasum is closely related to that of the rumen recess. Then anatomical description, it has got the two curvatures and two surfaces. So the two curvatures are the greater faces ventrally, then attaches greater momentum, and lesser faces dorsally and attaches with lesser momentum. The two surfaces are parietal surface and the visceral surface. The parietal surface, it is under the abdominal floor, whereas the visceral surface related to rumen and omasum. So the abomasum like simple stomach is divided into fundus, body and pyloric parts. Fundus, body and pyloric part, very similar to that of the stomach of a monogastric animals. So this is the anatomical description of the interior of organism. It is a glandular mucosa which presents cardiac, fundus and pyloric region. Cardiac, fundus and pyloric region. So this is narrow area surrounding abomasal opening. The fundic region includes most of the fundus of the body and it contains the permanent spiral folds which upset as lesser curvature. The pyloric region includes pyloric part. The pyloric sphincter is not well developed and presents large torus pyloricus which is round protuberance inside less curvature. So the gastric groove, it is a well-developed and considerable physiological significance. The gastric groove or it extends from cardia of the reticulum, omasum and abomasum to pylorus. So it is divided into three segments: reticular, omasal and abomasal groove. So this gastric groove swallowed milk in suckling animal is conducted through reticular and omasal growth directly into the abomasal. So this sends the milk directly to the abomasum for proper digestion in a calf, etc. due to the suckling reflex. So, gastric groove or rumenoreticular groove is a structure here you can see it is starting from esophagus and up with abomasum. So, these grooves extend from abomaso nasal opening pylorus, it represented by band-like area extend along lesser curvature of the rumen. So the reticular groove, rumen or reticular groove extends from the cardia to reticulomasal opening and it is formed of two muscular spiral ridges here. So this is having very important functions, especially in case of ruminants, while swallowing the water or milk in a calf. Then, apart from this one, these are all the major anatomical divisions of the rumen in a great nutshell and very briefly. And thanks a lot for hearing very patiently. Bye.